All right, CleRenda, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you. I can feel your energy.
All right. Hey, everybody that's joining us tonight on Facebook Live. I want to see you guys comment. Let us know that you're here. I'm going to give you guys just a couple seconds to join us, to invite your friends. I have CleRenda McGrady joining me.
Yay!
So come on, in the comment section, if you want to tag somebody, let us know you're here. Say hello. Guys, I am joined by Miss CleRenda McGrady, wife of veteran. He's an NBA All-Star, All-Pro, Hall of Famer, Tracy McGrady. CleRenda,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you so much, Tanisha, for having me. I appreciate being here, and I appreciate what you're doing as well in the community.
Well,
and
thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we here, SET is a sports platform for women. And when I saw that you have a book, Push Through, being a wife, a mother, and, just experiencing just all that comes with being in the NBA and in the community and giving back. I mean, it's a whole lot that comes with that. And we have a platform for women.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have you come on and share with us just, some nuggets, things that you may have learned, things that you are doing in the community. So you guys, I'm going to give you some time to hop on and join us on our Facebook Live. We have Mrs. CleRenda McGrady joining us for Set Real Talk Tuesday.
Yes, so grateful to be here again. Thank you.
You are welcome. My pleasure. Guys, comment. Let me know you're there. Hey, we see you. Welcome, welcome. All right, CleRenda. Tell us, just for those that may not be familiar with who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your journey, how you got to where you are today, pushing through.
Awesome, pushing through. Well, yes, I am wife, I am mother, I am child of God, I am entrepreneur, and just really trying to stay on this path of purpose in life, which is not always an easy task. You're like, I know. It's not always an easy task, but we're constantly on a journey for success. So many times, we're looking for success. What does success mean? And that was really the impetus for the book, is really trying to figure out what is success to me. Because you can ask 20 people what success is to them, you're going to have 20 different interpretations. And so for me, it can get daunting to try to meet the world's expectation of what success is, right? And so for me, success is really success is connected to your purpose, and when you're really living out that purpose. And so I just had to become comfortable in my own skin of finding what is success for me versus what it is for the next person versus what it is that the world says success should look like. And so as well that when you live a certain lifestyle and things on the outside, things look a certain way, people assume what that is success, right? But for me, for so many years, although the outside appeared to be success with a husband who played in the NBA and, you've got the stuff, the status and all of that, but inside there was still a void, a yearning for something more. And so for me, I just sort of going back and finding myself and reclaiming myself and my voice and my identity was crucial in this path of purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, guys. If you're just tuning in and joining us on our Set Real Talk Tuesday, we have Mrs. CleRenda McGrady joining us, wife of NBA Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady, and she's telling us a little bit about how she found her purpose and how she was able to push through. She's written a best-selling book that you guys have to pick up. We'll tell you a little bit more about that shortly. But CleRenda, I can completely relate, like you mentioned, having what appears to be it all on the outside, but wanting to make sure that on the inside you're feeling fulfilled, and that you're also living your purpose. What was there, or if there was, what was the defining moment for you? Or was there an instance that you might have gone through that made you realize, you know what, this isn't it for me?
Yeah. You know what? For me, it wasn't that one big thing. It was small things that led up. And I just remember clearly, and I talk about it in the book, there was a time when we went on a family vacation, and this particular place we've gone to a few years in a row. One of the highlights at this resort was this parade they put on a Tuesday evening. I'll never forget. And so we were all gathered down to watch this parade come through. And the parade went through, and it got over rather quickly, quicker than what I had remembered in the past, in the previous year. So everyone started leaving to go back to their room, and I was sitting around like, wait, there's got to be more to this parade. There's just got to be more, right? It's not over, right? And in that moment, I just felt this internal voice saying, well, is it over? Is it over for you? How much longer are you going to sit on the sidelines of your own life and watch the parade go by versus being a participant in it? And so for me, it was just this almost like this very surreal twilight moment where it was just like almost like an outer body experience. Now that seems crazy, but it was really me watching this parade and relaying it back to myself, saying it's time for you to march to the beat of your own drum, to be in your own parade and be a participator and not a spectator in your affairs of your own life. And so that's where I felt like I just really wasn't living the best and the most and the highest version of me. And so it was in that moment where it was just there had been a constant nudge and tug, but it was in that moment where it spoke very loudly, like you need to, there are things you need to be doing that makes a difference.
So guys, you're watching, you're listening. Are you a spectator? Are you watching your parade go by? Or are you really feeling like there are things that you can do to be a participant? Yeah. And that could be just the parade of life. Sometimes we get caught up in the day to day.
Yeah.
And you look up, oh my gosh, 2017 is about to end. Yes. But what goals have you set?
Yeah.
What things have you done to really fulfill what your purpose is?
Yeah. And a lot of that, is being supporting your husband in his affairs. Oftentimes as women, regardless what that husband does, if you're not intentional and making diligent moves with your own life, your life can just sort of get put on the sideline, right? And you can sort of lose that voice or that identity or the essence of who you are. And so for me, it was like, okay, I was doing things and, making strides in life, but I wasn't doing everything that I could do. I wasn't living that highest version of myself. And so it was that moment where I said, you know what, you've sort of lost yourself. And it was really a way for me to just say, okay, reclaim that, and anything that can be lost, hey, we know it can be found again.
Yeah. For those of you guys that are listening, can you tell us, CleRenda, how did you know? What did you feel? For those mothers and wives that are watching that may feel somewhat lost or unsure or at a place where you're just not content.
Yeah.
You feel a little tugging, but you're not quite sure, what it is. How did you know that, you just were at a place where you weren't living your purpose?
Yeah, well, you get signs every day. And for me, it was really, I talk a lot about the internal nudge and tug and pull. And I liken it to just a woman who's in labor pain, right? It starts off slow, and then the intensity, it picks up. The intensity picks up, and before you know it, you've got these full-on labor pains. And for me, that's what it was like. It was like as though I was pregnant with this thing, and I was ignoring the birthing pains till finally the baby is kicking and kicking. It's time to give birth. And am I going to answer the call? Am I going to continue to carry around something that I know that I need to give birth to? And so again, it becomes where you're uncomfortable in your comfort, basically. And so there are just moments where it's just this internal pull, and you cannot continue to ignore it because you know what that means. And, depending on what that faith life is, it's really God's way of saying, hey, what are you doing? It's a tap from God to say, hey, what are you doing? Are you using your gifts and talents that I've given you in the best way that you should? And so for me, it's a spiritual encounter where you cannot continue to ignore the voice. You can't even sleep at night, So it's just, again, it's constant taps. I think that God is saying, listen, I've given you this stuff and you're not using it. You're just not using it to the best that I've given it to you for.
We are here on Set Real Talk Tuesday, Facebook Live, guys. Joining us is CleRenda McGrady. Somebody out there is experiencing some Braxton Hicks.
Yeah.
Some ladies that can understand what I am saying. You have something in you that you feel like it is time for you to birth it. Some purpose that's turning inside of you. Some tug. It's time for you to get ready to release. And we are joined with life coach, philanthropist, mother, and wife, CleRenda McGrady.
Yes.
Tell us about this book. What was that part of your, purpose to write a book?
Yeah, it was actually. Again, the title is Push Through. And again, I had to have a conversation with myself, right? And it was really, the conversation was about, why aren't you able to go through with these ideas? You get these ideas, you start off with this thing, right before it's time to pull the trigger, you find a way to sabotage, to self-sabotage, to backtrack, all right? And for me, again, it was, why do I start these things? Why do I have these dreams? Why do I have these big things? But then I can never necessarily go through with it. And so I had to figure out that it was really all about fear. I was sort of operating in fear. And I was operating in a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors where I would have these internal conversations that would talk me out of why I shouldn't or couldn't do something. And so for me, Push Through is really all about a mindset. It's a mantra. It's a mind shift. It's the response that we should have in life when that internal voice tells you why you can't do something, why you shouldn't do it, why it won't happen. Then Push Through is the answer to that. Are you going to succumb to those conversations, or are you going to push through? Are you going to push through the fear, the insecurity, the doubt, the rehearsed, the rehashed, and recycled conversations of yesterday that keep us stuck? And oftentimes, we focus on so much of what other people are saying, but for me, I have to focus on, what am I saying to me about me? And during that time, the conversations weren't really conversations that were empowering to me, because everything was why I couldn't do it, why it wouldn't work, or look at her, she's doing it on this level, or look at him, I can't do it like that. And that will kill our dreams when we are constantly comparing ourselves and competing with the next person. And so we have to be comfortable in our own skin and know that you were not made, you were not created or chosen to do it like this other person, and they can't do it like you.
I'm gonna have to stop you.
Okay.
That real talk, guys. You hear her self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
You talking yourself out of your purpose.
Yeah.
Watching people that may be a little bit further than you, or doing it differently than you, that you think is better. What is for you is for you.
It's for you. Yeah. I just think that we have to be cognizant of the fact that, we each have a why. We all have a mission statement. God has chosen each of us for something very unique that no other person can do. And although we may be doing similar things, no one can do it quite like you. And so we have to just get comfortable and be able to push through that fear and push through our stuck stories. We all have these stories, right? Why we can't do something, no one in my family went to college, or my daddy wasn't there, or mama said I'd never be anything, or all these things that may be facts. We all have stuff, but we have to be able to discern facts with truth. Okay, yeah, maybe you did come from this background. Maybe you didn't have this. Maybe these things did happen to you, and those are facts of your life, but it doesn't mean it's the truth. And so we get stuck in those facts of life and allow those facts of life to dictate our fate.
Yes, using those facts of life as stumbling blocks instead of stepping stones.
There you go. Yeah.
All
exactly.
Right. So we're here. It's Set Real Talk Tuesday. I'm joined by Mrs. CleRenda McGrady. I am so honored to have her joining us. She is sharing some nuggets with us. Guys, I need you to interact. I need you to let me know that you are feeling this, because I am touched. Not only am I touched, but CleRenda, tell us, as a wife.
Yeah.
And, sometimes we get caught up taking care of home, taking care of husband, taking care of children. As a wife, tell me, at what point do you feel that, for those of us that may have young children, how old are your children?
My oldest is 14. freshman in high school. And then I have an 11-year-old, 9 and 8.
Okay, so they're a little older, older in a sense that you don't have toddlers or newborns. Sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just caught up in the day-to-day because my children become an excuse. Or, you know, my husband's career might be so demanding. At what point did you say, okay, I'm not going to use these things to prohibit me? Or, you know, I can do everything that I want to do in addition to. How did you juggle it all?
Well, I'm glad you didn't use the word balance, because sometimes I don't think there really is a true balance. So so I think that we just have to be able to prioritize, and we have to be disciplined in delegating and be comfortable with releasing some things, because we want to be able to say, no, no one else can do it like me. I have to be the master of this and this and this and that. And so when we have our hands on so many things, trying to control everything, nothing really gets done. And so for me, even with having kids, you know, being a very proactive mother and wanting my hands on everything, I had to say, well, in order for me, although my kids and my family are first and will always be first, yeah, I know there were still some things that I need to be doing. And so for me, it was having to be able to release the control. Well, you know, so-and-so is going to help the kids with the homework today. Oh, no, they can't do it like me, you know, and I need to do it this certain way. But knowing that it's okay, it's not going to be like you. But being able to slowly release control to other people, you've got to surround yourself with what I call your midwife tribe, people that can help you give birth to those dreams and those things. But you've got to be comfortable releasing some things to other people to delegate, so that other people can step in and support you while you're trying to live your dreams and to make everything happen. You can't do it by yourself. And you can't, you can't operate it with a one-man show. You've got to be comfortable with delegating.
Yes. So for those of you guys that might have just joined us for Set Real Talk Tuesday, I have Mrs. CleRenda McGrady with us. She is a philanthropist, a mother, a wife, author, best-selling author of the book Push Through. Guys, if you're following her on social media, you'll get to see her family, her children. Daughter just hit a freshman year of high school, 14-year-old. So we're getting to see those. I want you guys to really, really grab Push Through. Go to Amazon.com. You can go to her website, CleRendaMcGrady.com, and order her book, because it is truly a blessing listening to all of the ways that she's able to handle different situations, really live out her purpose, and push through all of the self-sabotage, the negative conversations that you may have with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, CleRenda, tell me, we're seeing that you're doing a lot with young women. What made your passion young women and wanting to serve young women?
Because I think back, Denisha, when I was in my prime, in my younger years, the impact, if I would have had someone other than my mom that was pouring into me, and the difference that would have made. I just know that was a missing element in my life, to be surrounded by other women besides my mom. Sometimes, obviously, we need our mothers to encourage us, but sometimes as a young person, you're going to take direction a little bit better maybe from someone else. Although they're telling the same thing that your mom is saying, they just receive it better. And so for me, until I got to a certain age, like so many other youth do, we want to rebel against mom because she doesn't know what she's talking about. But I just know the importance of what another woman would have been in my life. And I see the women that are in my life, the role and the impact that it has on my daughters. And so I just think, you know, particularly for girls who don't have that access to, who maybe they don't have a mother who's encouraging or pouring into them, they don't have anybody else. I just know that as women, once we have that support and that encouragement, there's nothing that we can't do. And oftentimes we need someone to see in us what we can't see in ourselves. We need someone to believe in us and to our own momentum gains until we can believe in ourselves. And, you know, all it takes is just that woman to be the catalyst for some other girl's greatness to shine.
Yes. So if you guys are just joining us, we're Set Real Talk Tuesday. We have Mrs. CleRenda McGrady with us. She's doing some amazing things with young women. You are right now in in New York, you know, just coming off of a seminar. Tell us a little bit about what you have going on there, and then how you got into your foundation, what you're doing, how we can support, and for those that want to or have a heart to serve, what might they be able to do in their communities for young women?
Yeah. Well, right now, I just got through talking to a group of women, the Levo organization, an amazing group of women and leadership. And so we talked about the topic of expecting to win. And I talked about some of the elements and what it takes to have this attitude of expecting to win. Oftentimes we say we want things in life and we're pursuing things, and I want to do this and I want to do that. But the question is, are you really expecting it to happen? Because oftentimes we don't really expect it. We want it to, but expecting is when you're believing and you know without a shadow of a doubt that this thing is going to happen. And so many times we can get away from our dreams because we really aren't expecting it. And so that was the topic of tonight's workshop. It was really great, and the women were awesome.
Yes. So those of you guys expecting, what are you expecting? Are you thinking that you might want it, kind of, sort of want it? You know, the universe or God will give you what you say you want, and sometimes you don't get it because you aren't sure.
Right, because that level, you know, your level of the first requirement for you to win, to go from where you are to where you want to be, is your level of expectation. You know, it's, are we really expecting it? Because if you're not putting a for sure intention, if there's no for sure expectation, then all we're doing is wishful thinking and imagining and daydreaming about it.
Yeah. So the difference between daydreaming or examining, I want everyone to really understand. You might kind of sort of want it and you daydream about it and you let it go. But if you're expecting it, you're preparing for it as though it's already happening, as though it's already there. You're expecting guests. So what, you might tidy up your house, you might, you know, get yourself together because you're expecting them to come. But that just wishful thinking is, okay, they may or may not come. So I'm gonna sit back and relax.
Right. It's a sense of confidence that you have. Just like I was expecting to get online to chat with you today. It wasn't like, I think we are, maybe we're not, I don't know. No, I was expecting that. So there was a certain expectation and an anticipation. I believe that. And so that's what happened. It wasn't, maybe I'll talk to her, maybe we won't. So it's really a mindset. It's all about a mindset. Yeah. And I think that makes the difference between reaching the next level, whatever that is, and reaching your desired goals in life. Are you expecting it? Because if you really aren't expecting it, then of course it's probably not going to happen.
So we're going to operate in a spirit of expectation.
There you go.
Those of you guys, I want you to type right now that you're expecting. We are getting ready to birth something. Some people are feeling those Braxton Hicks or contractions, labor pain. We're ready to push through. If you are ready to push through, because I know you guys are. I know I am. We're about to birth something here. We're going to grab your book. Go to Amazon.com. Grab Push Through. Hit CleRendaMcGrady.com. Follow her on social media. We're at CleRenda.McGrady. It's CLERENDA.McGrady. CleRenda.McGrady on Instagram. And CleRenda McGrady on Facebook and Twitter. So we got to follow you because you just, I mean, listen, guys, when I'm looking at all the things she's doing, she is Women Who Push, a one-day conference coming up in Houston. For all of you guys that are in Houston, register, go to her one-day conference, October 21st in Houston. Tell us a little bit about that. Buffalo Museum.
So my foundation is called Project Push, and PUSH is an acronym. It stands for Purpose-Led, Unstoppable, Success-Bound, and Hope-Filled. Qualities and characteristics that I'm assuming that we all are striving for every day. And so the Women Who Push event is really about getting a group of like-minded women together who are ready to push, who are ready to push to the next level, who are ready to push through the fear and everything that's happened to them that told them that they couldn't do it. And so we get together and I have an amazing lineup of women, of different panelists who are sharing stories, who are sharing tactics. And I love inspiration, but I've also learned that inspiration without implementation doesn't yield your transformation. And so really it's a day where women are also giving strategies and tips and their own testimonies about how they're able to push through and get to their next level. And so the proceeds from that conference benefits single mothers that have been affected and impacted by Hurricane Harvey. So I'm super excited about the conference this year and just ready to rock and roll. And yeah, it's not just for Houston. Hey, you can fly in. There are people flying in. So yeah, we would love to have everyone.
Okay, so I saw that you guys have done some amazing impacts in Houston.
Yes.
Giving back. Will you share with our viewers a little bit of what you've done for Hurricane Harvey victims already?
Yeah, well, you know, first to go back to what you said, although the storm was just devastating, you know, I am just amazed every day by the spirit of community that's happening. The solidarity, just how people are coming together and supporting and wanting to help. And it's amazing how in the midst of such devastation, the one good thing that can come out of it is love and people coming together and helping and kindness and goodness and getting people to talk that would have never spoken before. And one thing about Hurricane Harvey, it's crazy. It was no respecter of person. You know, it didn't matter if you stayed on this side of town or that side of town, if you were educated or uneducated, what your income level is like, it affected everyone. And so I think that's why the city is just such an outpouring, because everyone was affected in some kind of way. And so it's just amazing to see the conversations that are happening between groups of people that would have never taken place. And so I look at that and I say, if there was one positive thing or one blessing that's come out of this storm, is just the sense of community that's happened. And so, yeah, we've done some things in the Third Ward area. We
She's being so modest, guys. So modest. They've done some things.
Oh no, you know it's listen. But what's great is everyone is doing some things, and that's the cool thing. Everyone is doing something, and it's making a huge difference.
Well, I am always just so in awe of people that give selflessly, that give back, that find a way, no matter what is going on, to make an impact in the community.
Yeah.
You have set assist and set cares, and watching you guys, I'm not even in Houston, but I mean, just thank you for all that you're doing. And tell us, okay, so now we're gonna get into a little bit of nitty gritty here.
Okay.
For our single ladies who are watching our set Real Talk Tuesday, Getting Real, tell us a little bit about what it takes to have a healthy, happy relationship. You've been married to Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady. What does it take?
I think one of the main things is not losing sense of who you are. Is always holding on to your sense of identity and who you are. And no matter what your husband does or doesn't do, knowing and being confident on what you bring to the table. You know, oftentimes we look into relationships and we're so focused on the man, but it's almost like, what are you bringing to the table other than, you know, cute looks and a cute body come a dime a dozen, right? And so really being firm and comfortable on what you bring to the table, and just your identity. Just my main thing is just standing firm on your identity, who you are, and your value, and not letting that diminish in the relationship.
So for those single ladies that are joining us, that are watching, knowing who you are, knowing what you bring to the table, guys, it's nice to be beautiful. And for the fellas that are watching, that have joined us for Set Real Talk Tuesday, we have Mrs. CleRenda McGrady joining us, wife of Hall of Famer Tracy McGrady. What she's saying is, you may be beautiful and you may have a beautiful body, but that comes a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
you need to
buy that these days.
Yes. Thank you so much, CleRenda. You guys, she's telling us a little bit about her giving back, the things that they're doing in the community, being modest. So appreciate all that you're doing with the Hurricane Harvey natural disaster impact. You're joining us for Set Real Talk Tuesday. We have Mrs. CleRenda McGrady, wife of Tracy McGrady, Hall of Fame NBA player. Guys, for those ladies that are joining us that just want to know how to keep a happy home.
Yeah.
Tell us how you juggle it all in marriage. Tell us some pointers. You and I spoke and you told me a little bit about really knowing who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. Two key things, I think, whether you are married, you are single, wherever you're at, the two main things for me is really keeping your relationship in prayer. It has been, a lifesaver and marriage saver for me. And just really keeping that husband in prayer, keeping that potential husband in prayer. And the second thing is really, sometimes it's hard to check our ego, right? And for me, I've had to learn, do I want to be right or do I want results? Because my ego tells me, oh, you need to be right. You are right. Prove your point that you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. And before you know it, you can be right, but you're still going to bed and you're still in the same situation. So for me, I've had to learn to pull out my ego from the situation. And although I know I might be right, my overarching goal has to be, I want results though. I want reconciliation. So many times as women, we can want to prove our point to let you know I'm right in this situation. But in order for me to grow my marriage, in order for me to connect and reconnect, I've got to put ego to the side, whether I'm right or not, and focus on, but I want results. So how can we come together and move forward and get the results versus me being so focused on being right?
Yeah. That is wisdom. Wisdom speaking, being married, knowing when to pick and choose your battles, but most importantly, knowing that you don't necessarily always have to prove that you're right as much as you want the result.
That's right.
Of being able to interact and being able to communicate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those of you guys that have joined us for Real Talk Tuesday, we're here. Mrs. CleRenda McGrady has joined us. So honored to have you on. We have talked about pushing through. Guys, you got to grab her book, CleRendaMcGrady.com. Order it, Amazon.com. Follow her on social media. If you're in Houston or desire to go to hear more from Mrs. CleRenda McGrady, she has a conference coming up in October. Tell us the date, the place.
Yeah. The date is October the 21st. I believe it's from 10 to 3. It's going to be at the Buffalo Soldier Museum in downtown Houston. And so I would love to have everyone come, buy a ticket, buy 2, 3, or 4, and come on and be a part of something great that's going to happen.
Yes, we're ready to push through. We're ready to birth some purpose, really live out what we're here for. We're so honored to have you. Let's push through, guys. This is Danisha Roll, and I'm set.
I am CleRenda McGrady, and I am set. And thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast, and I appreciate you.
Yay, my pleasure. Guys, this is Set Real Talk Tuesday. Let us know your thoughts. We're responding to you.
Yes.
And we'll see you next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. God bless.
My pleasure.